The Wolf, the Goat, and the Kid. As an old goat was going forth to pasture, she carefully latched her door, and bid her kid not to open it to anyone who could not give this password: "Beware of the wolf and all his race." A wolf happened to be passing, and overheard what the old goat said. When she was gone, he went to the door, and, knocking, said, "Beware of the wolf and all his race." But the kid, peering through a crack, said, "Show me a white paw, and I will open the door." As the wolf could not do this, he had to depart, no better than he came. Two sureties are better than one. The Fox and the Hedgehog. A Fox, while crossing over a river, was driven by the stream into a narrow gorge, and lay there for a long time unable to get out, covered with myriads of horseflies that had fastened themselves upon him. A Hedgehog, who was wandering in that direction, saw him, and, taking compassion on him, asked him if he should drive away the flies that were so tormenting him. But the Fox begged him to do nothing of the sort. "Why not?" asked the Hedgehog. "Because," replied the Fox, "these flies that are upon me now are already full, and draw but little blood. But should you remove them, a swarm of fresh and hungry ones will come, who will not leave a drop of blood in my body." When we throw off rulers or dependents who have already made the most of us, we do but, for the most part, lay ourselves open to others, who will make us bleed yet more freely. The Brazier and His Dog. A Brazier had a little dog, which was a great favorite of his master, and his constant companion. While he hammered away at his metals, the dog slept; but when, on the other hand, he went to dinner and began to eat, the dog woke up and wagged his tail, as if he would ask for a share of his meal. His master one day pretended to be angry, and, shaking his stick at him, said, "You wretched little sluggard, what shall I do to you? While I am hammering on the anvil, you sleep on the mat; and when I begin to eat after my toil, you wake up and wag your tail for food. Do you not know that labor is the source of every blessing, and that none but those who work are entitled to eat?" The Wild Ass and the Lion. A Wild Ass and a Lion entered into an alliance that they might capture the beasts of the forest with the greater ease. The Lion agreed to assist the Wild Ass with strength, while the Wild Ass gave the Lion the benefit of his greater speed. When they had taken as many beasts as their necessities required, the Lion undertook to distribute the prey, and for this purpose he divided it into 3 shares. "I will take the first share," he said, "because I am king; and the second share, as a partner with you in the chase; and the third share, believe me, will be a source of great evil to you, unless you willingly resign it to me, and set off as fast as you can." Might makes right. The Father and his 2 Daughters. A man had 2 daughters, the one married to a gardener, and the other to a tile maker. After a while he went to the daughter who was married to the gardener, and inquired how she was, and how all things went with her. She said, "All things are prospering with me, and I have only one wish: that there may be a heavy fall of rain, in order that the plants may be well watered." Not long after he went to the daughter who had married the tile maker, and likewise inquired of her how she fared. She replied, "I want for nothing, and only have one wish: that the dry weather may continue, and the sun shine hot and bright, so that the bricks might be dried." He said to her, "If your sister wishes for rain, and you for dry weather, with which of the 2 am I to join my wishes?" The Fir Tree and the Bramble. A Fir Tree said boastingly to the Bramble, "You are useful for nothing at all, while I am everywhere used for roofs and houses." The Bramble made answer, "You poor creature, if you would only call to mind the axes and saws which are about to hew you down, you would have reason to wish that you had grown up a bramble and not a fir tree. Better poverty without care than riches with. The Farmer and his Sons. A farmer, being on the point of death, wished to ensure from his sons the same attention to his farm as he himself had given it. He called them to his bedside and said, "My sons, there is a great treasure hid in one of my vineyards." The sons, after his death, took their spades and mattocks and carefully dug over every portion of their land. They found no treasure, but the vines repaid their labor by an extraordinary and superabundant crop. The Cat and the Birds. A Cat, hearing that the birds in a certain aviary were ailing, dressed himself up as a physician, and, taking with him his cane and the instruments becoming his profession, went to the aviary, knocked at the door, and inquired of the inmates how they all did, saying that if they were ill he would be happy to prescribe for them and cure them. They replied, "We are all very well, and shall continue so, if you will only be good enough to go away and leave us as we are." The Stag, the Wolf, and the Sheep. A Stag asked a Sheep to lend him a measure of wheat, and said that the Wolf would be his surety. The Sheep, fearing some fraud was intended, excused herself, saying, "The Wolf is accustomed to seize what he wants and to run off, and you too can quickly outstrip me in your rapid flight. How then shall I be able to find you when the day of payment comes? Two blacks do not make one white."